apparently we have to do that. Okay, now it says we are live. So let's see. YouTube's, are you now showing the us?
No, it is not. I just refreshed. Wait. Now I see us.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, we are now showing the us. So what is... Okay, so I had it playing, so it was like, what the heck?
Same. We are very professional.
Yeah. Well, we're just now starting. Well, not just as a... Hi, Tommy. Hello. Thank you for joining
Tommy
us.
Lulu's in the chat?
Yes. So what is up, my bros? It is another episode of Bugz2Men. This time we are going to be talking about SH Figuarts A History. We're kind of going over the line itself. Of course, we know it's me, 2KROs, aka Reggie. I am, one of the primary hosts of Bugz2Men, along with my co-host. Would you like to introduce yourself, man?
Oh, look, it's a distraction. Yeah, hi guys, it's Gary. I'm back here because Reggie hasn't kicked me to the curb.
Why would I kick you to the curb, man?
I don't know, because I'm New York trash. We're just that easy. But we have a very special guest, the queen, the former queen of Figuarts. And at one time she said, and I quote, "I am complete form." It is Rai, aka CollectorShuki. How you doing today, my dear friend?
I am good. Once upon a time, I was complete form, and now I'm not even base form.
Once upon a time, I was. Now I'm only falling apart. DMCA'd. Okay, so, but yeah, of course, we had to have Rai on the show. Like back when I was in high school, I watched a lot of Rai's videos when she was doing reviews on SH Figuarts, and that kind of sucked me into the line. So essentially, guys, like I said, we were going to be talking about the SH Figuarts, kind of going over their predecessor really briefly, because honestly, I've seen them back when I was living in Japan, but I never actually got any of them. But first, actually, guys, why don't we just kind of, introduce our history with SH Figuarts, like our own personal history first. I mean, like I said, I was mentioning, I watched a lot of Rai's videos back when I was in high school. When I moved to Long Beach for college, there was a place called, Mitsuo Marketplace, and they had a little toy shop within there, and I saw my favorite rider as a Figuart, Kamen Rider O's. This is the original one that I have. My aunt got it for me for Christmas, and then from there, my buddy Jordan, Deno at Toku Nation, shout out to you, man. We're going to be showing some of your pictures later. We did a Mount a Rocket order, and everything went downhill from there. So, Gary or Rai, oops, I dropped the driver. But you guys talk about your history with SH Figuarts.
Mine's a long, dark, complicated background. What can I? So I went to a local convention back in 2011 when like the double Figuarts were just starting, and I found a CJX for $55 from Image Anime. That's back when Image Anime had an actual physical store in New York City. And that was my first one, and then I kind of stopped buying Figuarts. So I want to say the next Figuart that I ever got was from Chenix, and that was his Imperial Jamon. And then, it slowly started to snowball. I bought Rise Blade, which I no longer have because I needed to make money. And I had Deno's... Oh, no, wait. I had Rise Agito Shintoku Seiho as well. And then I bought Kiva, and I'm like... and then I bought O's, and then I have a bunch of Digimon. And I was more into the Sentai ones, honestly, because it's like, okay, they're gonna complete all the teams. R.I.P. my Dark Hunters. But that's pretty much my thing. Like, I'm very picky choosy when it comes to the toys, and honestly, I'm still waiting for them to do Buster's Figuart. If you want my money,
they haven't yet.
If you want my money, Tamashii Nations, make Best Dad into a Figuart, please.
What has released for?
Saber and Blades, as far as I
Saber
know.
and Blades next month is going to be Caliber. June is going to be Espada, and then Draconic Knight is in July. X Swordsman has been teased, but so far nothing yet on Buster / or Kenzan. So, yeah, I mean, obviously I listed them in the order of I wanted.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm if they don't want to release a Kenzan Figuart, I'm okay with that because I hate Ren.
Okay, we talked about that during our set per episode.
Yeah,
but
we
it's time
did.
for Figuarts. So, Rai, can you give us a little bit of your history? I mean, like I mentioned before, I watched your reviews a lot when I was like 18. So that was 10 years ago.
So flashback to 2009. 2009? That sounds right. A friend had gotten me into Kiva because this was right around the time that Dragon Knight was teased and like in production and all that. And I'd never done anything with Kamen Rider before other than Masked Rider. And so there was a local convention and I met a bunch of people from like Ranger Board and stuff. And so I was talking to one of them and then we were texting. Is that something you did back in 2009?
Yeah.
And back and forth. He's like, "Oh, you should check out Kamen Rider. This is the current one that's on." And he showed me Kiva, and it looked freaking awesome. And so I'm like, "Sure, I'll check it out." And poked around and found subs I don't even remember from where. I wasn't TV Nihon, if I remember correctly, oddly enough. But I started watching it. I got hooked. I'm like, "Cool, let's get into this." And then it was right around the end of Kiva. And so like subs were very sporadic at the time because again 2009.
Yeah.
And so I was like hit and miss on everything, and then Decade started. And I finally I found TV Nihon and was like, okay, let's check out some other shows. And the first one I checked out was Kabuto. And I enjoyed it. It has since went lower on the ranks as I've seen more series. Still good. And so like, okay, I want something from Kabuto. Like I want to figure. Like I knew I couldn't find a belt or anything like that because I didn't know Mandarake existed back then. And it was right around the time that the Kabuto Figuarts were coming out. And Dark Kabuto was the newest one. And I had just bought a bunch of Kiva belts and stuff from HLJ on a huge sale.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a Dark Kabuto figure. I'm like, sure, let's do this one. And so I bought it. Back then, like Figuarts for only like $25. Like I'm looking at Tamashii's site right now, and retail price for Dark Kabuto is 2,750 yen. And I'm like, sure, this is cheap. Let's do it. So I got Dark Kabuto. Was blown away at the figure quality, and it was a downward spiral from there. Shortly after that, I wasn't poking around too much, but then Decade and the End came out in August of 2009. And I'm like, well, Decade's fun. Let's do this. And so I got both of them. Those were one of the first videos on my channel. Dark Kabuto was up there. My very first video was the Kiva belt unboxing, because that was the first thing I ever did. And then shortly after that, the Decade and the End Figuarts reviews went up. And like I said, it just went downhill from there. I got I don't remember what I got after that. The Zek Trooper and the Bee came out. I skipped Hana for a while. Oddly enough. Oh, she's not in here.
I was like, you still have her?
And then DK Complete Form came out. Drake's the sword. Ixa is when everything fell apart. Ixa was my tipping point into Figuarts hell. And like I said, it went from there. I loved these figures. I needed all of them. I backtracked, got the ones that came out previously, and just kept buying them as they were releasing. And then eventually the dam broke, and I needed to buy the house I'm currently living in, and everything got purged for the most part, but it was a fun ride, nonetheless.
I mean, I remember to this day when I first started watching Rai, like her YouTube channel. I was like, there's more fans of this stuff than I. What is this trickery?
Yeah.
And then like listening to RRR and just hearing you, Dawson, Aerosol, and Jedimon like actively talk about it made me literally feel like I'm not alone in this crazy world. Because like, oh look, I can have friends.
It was such a small community back then.
Really.
God.
And now think
Like-
about it, Global Satsu.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think like the first like 3 or 4 Toku like reviewers that I watched review Toku were the 3 of you guys, Evangelist and TJ Omega.
Yeah, no, there wasn't a lot. It was either Japanese speaking,
Yeah.
strictly demo videos that didn't have any speaking in it at all, and the English speaking community was basically just those people that you listed off.
Yeah.
It was very niche back then.
Yeah,
Very
Now,
small.
then-
that's great.
yeah, because like when I would see like, oh look, new Figuarts, like oh I can't understand a single word they're saying, and I'll wait for RR.
We usually had decent turnover times.
Oh please, there was this that real quick. Then we'll go back on topic. There was a summer where I was working overnights at McDonald's, so I would get out of work at like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, and I'd be driving home to keep myself awake. I would listen to one-ups from RRR because that's when you guys were putting out episodes on Saturday mornings.
Mhm.
So I was like, so thank you.
You're welcome. Glad to entertain.
Yeah, always great to see your videos back then. Like I kept like staring at different websites before I actually like had a job. I'm like, can I get this? When can I get this? And, well,
That's the way that that's the way that I am with like Mandarake and Transformer Land. Like, can I get this? Are all my bills paid for the month?
I was
Can
like
do
that for a while, and then I got my first credit card.
Credit cards are a trap.
Yeah, they are.
yeah.
We
So
won't talk about that.
everybody watching, be very careful when you're spending with your credit card because those bills will come back and bite you. So yeah, let's move back on to topic.
Yeah.
So obviously, like I mentioned earlier, SH Figuarts, prior to them becoming mainstream, you know, the ideal or the prominent figure that people were looking for. There was actually a line that Bandai had produced with part of the Chogokin line, known as Shochaku Henshin. So Shochaku Henshin was this line of figures that kind of it was like armor on type pieces. Like it really kind of fit well when they did I think it lasted up until 2008. So like Kabuto, obviously the whole cast off portion of that that was actually more of a gimmick figure. Oh, yeah, hi Dee. But yeah, so real quick, I'm just gonna share like a couple images of what we had seen before, or what Shochaku Henshin was like. So here, for example, I don't know if my buddy Carl is watching right now, but I know he loves Blade King form.
I love
Blade King form was
heads.
Oh,
yeah.
Blade.
They tried to make the actors' heads as close as possible, but obviously with a head that small, it's not really likely. I mean, you've seen with modern American figures, say for example, yesterday I got Bo-Katan, they have the oversized helmets that kind of slip on, but still kind of look clean enough. But with these guys, they had the heads very, very small. I feel like what they could have done is made the heads a little bit bigger, maybe hollowed out the helmet a little better, and then probably going like that. But yeah, for example, here is one. This is kind of like an accessory tray. You can see this is the armor pieces over here. Oh wait, my mouse is on my main screen. These are the armor pieces over here that kind of slip onto the figure. There's obviously the little peg holes and the joints, or for all of this to kind of fit on. They had the classic action figure clamping hands, clasping hands back then. And then here's one in box. This was the Shocker Rider that they had released. But you're so the entire line, it ran from 2000 to 2008. Oh, hey, Chenix, how's it going, man?
Oh, hey, Chenix. How are you?
He's in chat saying Lightning Collection
I
Demon
know.
Heads, eat your heart out. Oh yeah, if the civilian figures are getting a little better with SH Figuarts, we can go over that a little bit later. Obviously, uh, actor likenesses is what's kind of preventing for them doing more of those. But yeah, like I said, the line was basically just from 2000 to 2008, and that's when they were kind of like just putting on these armor on pieces, and then. Yeah, I know that. Like I said, back when I was living in Japan, I would see them like at the different aisles, and I was like, I want to buy some Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Just like left them there. But basically, that was what we had back then before SH Figuarts had happened. When SH Figuarts happened, I believe that they came out first with. Oh yeah, I'm on the Rider Wiki. Sorry about that, guys. I know this is not the best resource, but we actually got back when they were doing the Kamen Rider first movie. That was actually, believe that was the first ever SH Figuarts Kamen Rider figure that they made. So that was 2008-ish.
Was February 1st, 2008.
February 1st, 2008. Wow.
With V3 and Rider 1.
V3 and Rider 1. Okay.
They came out the same day.
I mean, going back to the whole Shinshoku, the Shoshak Henshins. For anybody, like I just want to address the whole smaller head thing. Now, I'm a child of the 90s. I'm getting old. There was an old show called Ronin Warriors, or if you live in Japan, it's Yoroiden Samurai Trooper. And there were and yes, Tommy, time flies. There was a line where they had all the armor, and you could attach them all to the figures, and they were all universal. But the heads were incredibly small. And every time I see every time I see the old school Shochaku Henshins, I'm constantly reminded of that. Especially because how much were Shochaku Henshins back in the day? Like $20-$30?
Probably around the same price, probably about 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. I remember seeing at a convention once or twice, I think Shochaku Henshin Kiva or Shochaku Henshin Kabuto. I know there was a Deno one that I really wanted because that had all the bits to form Climax form.
Mm-hmm.
And Shochaku Henshins nowadays, they have not aged well. And if you go on Mandarake and you try to hunt down Shochaku Henshins, you could probably find a couple for a decent price. They're not good, but a couple. But
they're good little representations. I mean, especially with the fact that a lot of the Rider characters, main characters that we wanted, they weren't released yet in any form as SH Figuarts. So I know for a fact that before we got Hibiki or Kiva, people were using Shochaku Henshins to stand in those places. I mean, what you could do, is that or Figuarts Standard. But we'll talk about alternatives later. But yeah, that's basically what I saw people mostly going for Shochaku Henshin, unless they started collecting way back then. That's the only time I ever saw people owning Shochaku Henshins, but it's just those stand-ins. But yeah, because they're roughly, I believe that they're more of the smaller, the earlier height size of the Figuarts, or a little bit smaller comparison. So you can do them with distance shots if you wanted to.
They're about pictures. A 5-inch figure, give or take. A little bit bigger, so probably, but
probably scale a little bit better with the basic kind of line of figures that Bandai was putting back then for Power Rangers, rather than a modern one today.
Yeah, I've only got 3 Shochaku Henshin figures, I believe.
Do you happen to be in range of one to show as an example, or is it too far back?
No. No, I don't think it's in there.
Okay. Well, we'll try again later. But yeah, like we were mentioning, SH Figuarts started to make the Rider figures more prominently in the late 2000s, 2008, 2009, and they were releasing almost every year. They of course had their Kamen Rider line. They had their Super Sentai line. Super Sentai was actually brought over by Bluefin Brands for Power Ranger Samurai, very briefly, with gold and red. And then they had back then, or with convention exclusive metallic set for them as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for Kamen Rider wise, though,
I mean, real quick, sorry, Reggie. So going back to the Sentai thing, they also brought over Boken Blue, Boken Black. They brought over all the MMPR Figuarts.
Yes, they brought in over though. They brought in. I can speak English. They brought in all of those, and like eventually, like they're still trying to actively get Rider figure arts over here as well.
Yeah.
They did very briefly. I know, because like some of the figure arts that I purchased back then, like at those like one-off places that I've shopped at, like say, Anime Jungle in LA, or at Mitsuya, like I mentioned for the Tataba on the back of the box, they do have the Bluefin brand sticker. So it was taking some time to import that stuff, but of course, like right now they're actively trying to get the newer releases out. So fingers crossed, everybody, fingers crossed. But yeah, around roughly 2013, 2014, we saw their first attempt at a renewal line. Now I know that a lot of people confuse Shinkocho Seiho, which is like the more higher end version of figure arts, as a renewal line, but they're actually Shinkocho Seiho translates to true bone carving, which is to kind of indicate that they're trying to make these figures as close to a person in the suit as possible. With the renewal line, it was primarily just for example, Kamen Rider Black, Black RX, and Shadow Moon, where they just added, like, they updated the details to make them look a little bit better in comparison. Like, I'm gonna pull up a picture right now of Kamen Rider Black to show you guys the 3 different stages of his figure arts. So obviously here we have a picture on the far left over here. That is the original Kamen Rider Black. Don't recall when it was originally released, but roughly
May 2009.
May 2009. So yeah, look,
It was really early on.
This is what we came from, everybody. And then, like I picture showed you right now, this is the renewal one, which was, I think, there should be a date on the box here. There is actually no date on the box. But this was like roughly in the 2013, 2014 area. So you can see it's a little better detailed. If you compare it to like I said, the Seiho figures right now, it's still smaller, which is what this is in the middle. Shinkocho Seiho Black, which was released actually 2 days ago, as of this episode. So yeah, as you can see, the evolution of figure arts. The original, the small renewal line.
The renewal was 2013.
2013. Okay. So yeah, see what the difference that 4 years makes. And then 2013. So I can do math. 8 years later, we get this. We get this. So yeah, like I mentioned, the renewal line was really, it's still good, Tommy. Like a South Mania chat, it's still good. It's just a little bit smaller. The reason why you see mine in box is because it's missing an ankle, like one of the ankle coverings over here. And I got it secondhand from a friend because that was a saga. Brief, very very brief, like brief off topic. My buddy wanted to order this. We got in the mail a Black RX, so we had to negotiate with the store to give us Black. And it took we had to send back the RX to get that, and that's actually what this Black is. we got it, but missing the ankle cufflet. So that's why my buddy sent it to me. So, but yeah, hopefully I don't know if he's watching right now, but that's my buddy EB Twit on Twitter. I hope that you happen to get this guy, because Kamen Rider Black is very popular. So those pre-orders sold out fast, so hopefully you got that on hand. But oh yeah, Sea Striker 87 is part of the Discord group, and we talked about that at one point. So, but yeah, so when we were talking about Shinkocho Seiho, so Shinkocho Seiho is true-bone carving, like I mentioned, and that was a line of figures where they try to make them as close to zero possible. Yeah. Now, what was cool about those is that we also happened to get figure, like I said, Kamen Riders that were released back then in that line. So, for example, I'm going to pull up a picture. I know, Rai, this is your favorite rider, if I recall correctly. Kamen Rider Hibiki. Hibiki was made in the Shochaku Henshin line, but never made as SJ Figuarts before. So when they went to first they started off with Kabuto, was the first ever Shinkocho Seiho. So that was I left mine on the top shelf, so I can't grab it right now, but that was the evolution. That was the first ever Shinkocho Seiho. Like they are, like I said, more closely to the suit design. But then after that, they like Hibiki was the next one after, and like everybody's like, "What? When did Hibiki get a figure art?" Like, never. This is the first one ever. Which is why if you guys try to
I waited so long.
Which is why if you ever try to find this guy on the aftermarket, you are going to cry. And that's why, like I mentioned before, I went with the alternative of the Figuarts standard. Just so I have a Hibiki.
I cannot wait to talk about Figuarts standard because I have some very interesting hot takes to talk about when it comes to that line. But right now, we're talking about Figuarts. I will say though, Shinchoku Seihos are incredibly well done. My only problem with them is the price. Because how many of them are retail? Because I'm trying to think.
A lot of the primary forms of the riders are retail. The only one that really had, or the only ones I can think of that had alternate forms that were retail, would be like Oz's Taj's Door combo. What other form was there? Yeah, a lot of Shizukocho Seiho, a lot of the Figuarts were exclusive. Primary riders were like mostly, I think actually, primary riders were all, retail. Secondary riders were more of the exclusive. We had the unfortunate thing about, you mentioned him earlier, the end being a convention exclusive.
I remember that.
So I actually got this in a raffle. So. And then his elbows broke the other day, so I had to buy the replacement SH upgrade elbows for him. But
Fang Joker Fang Joker is the only other form.
Fang Joker and Tajador combo are the only two retail. Okay, yeah, I mean, well, also Axel and Skull, I believe, were also retail.
They were both retail.
Yeah. Eternal. I wish I never sold mine. Eternal was exclusive, and he is. Eternal Kabuto Hyperform and I think Hibiki are roughly the ones that you'll see as the highest on the aftermarket price. Eternal more so. I don't know why Kabuto Hyperform is as pricey as it is. It's like you see that thing for like 27,000 yen, and I'm just like, I am not touching that with a 4-foot pole.
I mean, when it comes to Figuarts, also just like. The amount of accessories that they own, because keep in mind, the only other like high-end action figure line I've ever really collected into, I've owned at least one figure, is Figma. Back when they had the Yami Yugi figure, that figure alone came with so many accessories. Like there was an entire arm for his dual disc. There was just like a couple extra hands and like the card, which you can use so easily. Also,
like 300.
Yeah, I'm about to say Deep Set is internally 300. I mean, because here's the thing: Shinchoku Seihos in the aftermarket go for stupid high money. Like I'm scared for when they get to Blade, because with Blade's one of my favorite riders. So and I don't have that figure anymore. So I'm like, if they do a Shinchoku Seiho Blade, I have to buy that and Chalice. And I hope when they do Garen, it won't be with his bike this time.
Oh yeah, that's one thing we can mention. So with the SH Figuarts line for Kamen Riders, obviously Kamen Rider. The whole gimmick way back then was that he was a guy with a helmet that rode a motorcycle. So nowadays, like a lot of the bikes have been released. Some of them have been teased but not released. Looking at you, Red Vendor. And then some of them you can buy, but they are typically packed with the accessories. Like, for example, it's Geo's bike. I can't remember what Geo's bike is called. The Right Striker, I believe. It comes with Geo and Gates' weapons, which obviously with. Well, that's another thing we can talk about. Is that with the main riders, if they're not Seiho, they're the standard line. Like they'll come with a good amount of accessories, but primarily just hands. And then you have to get the other accessory from like an alternate rider. I mean. That started up after, I think, roughly after X-Aid, actually.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. Drive didn't come with his sword or his gun. You had to get type wild and type technique.
Yeah, because it was following the releases of like the toys and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, here's what I remember. Oh no, sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
They particularly started with, I think it was Geo, because they did that like anniversary thing where it was like, oh, the base form first release Figuart is the price of Figuarts way back when, because it was like a big anniversary thing. And so it's like, hey, you can buy the figure for like $30, except we're putting nothing in it so that we can sell it to you for $30.
Actually, I think they started that with Build, because I remember
Build. Yeah,
yeah.
Thank you.
Because like Build was like so like everybody was like, oh, I can get Build. I think at one point I got 2 builds.
I need a build.
But sorry, I don't have the other one anymore, Gary.
No, you're fine. No, but my point was, because I'm going to bring this up because this is ancient history. I remember every Tamashii Nation. So anybody who doesn't know, oh, Puppy's here. Hi, Puppy. Sorry,
we were greeted by a cat, but now we are greeted by a pupper.
Anyway, so every year, for those of us who don't know, Tamashii's like, hey guys, these are all the Figuarts we currently have in development. Half of these won't come out. I remember every year, Chenix, myself, and our friend Dr. Board would always make the joke of, is this your Kiva? Is this your Kiva? And then they finally released Kiva like 2 years ago.
You released Kiva, and then we couldn't meme anymore.
But now we can we can kind of go, where's Saga?
Yeah.
And we can also say, where's Genius Form and Muteki? But anyway, that's not the point I'm trying to bring up. So
no, we have Muteki, we don't have Mugen.
No. Stupid Mugen. Well, see, Ghost doesn't exist. In my opinion, Ghost Rider took a year off pre-CDS.
Saga's been shown at shows like 3 or 4 times.
What is this then, Gary? What is this then, Gary?
He's a Power Ranger. But anyway, so the whole thing was with Kiva, because I actually used to own Kiva. Shout out to my buddy Gokai for picking that up off of me. How many Ranger Vanguard deck? But so the thing is,
I refuse to acknowledge that Kiva happened, so the meme can live on. Liz would probably say something about that, man.
Oh, hi, Chris. If Chris remembers who I am. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to get at here is with Kiva, they only had what's the name of his leg thing? Because I've only seen the first episode of Kiva.
I mean, it's when he rider kicks.
The rider kick thing.
His leg gate.
His leg thing.
leg hashtag leg gate 2021. So the whole thing is they released a bunch of extra hands and his chair and the violin with the bike. So at this point, guys, I'm comfortable saying bikes are glorified accessory packs for Rider Figuarts.
Mm-hmm. Essentially, yeah, they're for you gamers out there, they're DLC. His like thing is called a foot. His like thing is called a foot. Yeah.
Chris says his legs thing is called his foot. Thanks, sir. I appreciate it.
That's why we were laughing. So,
G3 mild.
Yeah, if we go through, G3 mild. There's like a lot of Kamen Rider Figuarts that they still have not touched yet. That
not only that, but just like going back to what I said earlier about like Tamashii Nations being like a bunch of, we can't curse, but a bunch of a-holes.
They're teases, man. They put out the entire, like, back then when Gaim was still airing, they showed like Kamuro, they showed Mars, they showed the Suika arms, like with Gaim and Baron in it, and we still haven't gotten any of those. And at this point, the Gaim designs kind of outdated when you look at them. I mean, they did Sangatsu Kachidoki. I almost said Shakidoki. But
I mean, also just like this isn't just limited to Rider Figuarts, because I remember years and years ago, back when Tamashii Nations was still doing the Sentai Figuarts when the Kiba Ranger was around, they showed full teams of Jetman, full teams of Bokengers, and they showed Ryu and Melee from Geki Rangers. And I remember saying
like Deca Rangers too.
Oh, I forgot about those. Well, then again, so did they. But like, it bums me out because Tamashii Nations is a really good company because they put out good stuff. Like, this is also going to like the whole Proplica thing too. Like, I really, really I want to hold that pupper too, Reggie. I really, really wish that, like, hey, these are definitely going to come out, because I'm like the world's biggest Bokenger fan next to Sentai 5, because he actually has Black and Gold Ultimate Daiboken, and I know for a fact if they did all the Figuarts, he would have probably gotten them too. Like, I had all 3 that were released, and I'm still pissed off to this day, 10 years later, that they didn't complete this freaking line.
Yeah.
Or in sales.
Sales, yeah. Blame it on the goose.
Japan doesn't like high-end Sentai anything, basically, is what it boils
I
down
mean-
to.
I mean, when you look at like what they did with well, we can talk about that during we're actually going to do a gimmick figure episode, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I mean, look at how they had they had their own gimmick figures at some point, and like now they basically just make glorified Yudo or Senkaiser.
Yudo or Soto or is it Soto or Shoto?
I think it depends. to be
Soto's
honest.
the ones you sticker, and Shoto's the ones you don't sticker.
All right,
Soto,
wait, so
Shoto, you
And
know.
Yu is Shoto for Sentai.
Tommy,
and-
so okay,
and
right.
Shoto is Shoto for Ultraman.
So Tommy says, just wait for lighting collection. I am. My whole plan is to buy them, throw away everything else, pose them with their weapons, and say, "This is my Bokengers." Gary's upset. Yes, give me a 10 years after movie. I want to see more of Shota. Shota's actor is still in Tokyo. He's in Saber. I just don't know about the rest of them. I know Akashi's actor ran Ninja Warrior years ago.
I think that Chris was actually saying that that's your 10 years after movie. Gary is upset.
Oh, sorry, Chris.
We love you guys. But yeah,
love you
so when we were talking about, like the different, or like how figure arts have kind of evolved throughout the years, like, for example, they had, if we go back to this, to the Tatoba, how the design was, you can obviously see it's like a very lanky individual. They had, like, some of them had like upper swivels, like the full waist rotation, and they've had like these drop down hips that people, I mean, with the Sentai figure arts, they tended to crack and break. So around the time of Gaim, they switched it up, and this kept on for for Drive, where they had the circular kind of design for the hips. So it gives him more of a range of motion. You can have him actually, like, I don't know, river dance or whatever. But then they went back to the drop down method with Ghost. But they had, kind of bulked up the hips. The hips. You guys remember El Dorado? The hip. They kind of bulked them up. But obviously, Ghost's design, because of the hoodie, that limited the articulation a bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, because of how it, when they try to make them as close to the suit as possible, like, depending on what line it is, they may end up actually hindering or... Chris, do not curse me. Every time, like almost every time I do a shoot for like my little like galleries and stuff like that, I have to be very wary about that. Back to the topic of Ixa, downhill. He fell off the shelf during, so you can see on his crests where they snapped. So
Both of them.
So I had to put them back together.
Oh,
yeah.
Something similar happened with my CJX. Like, it was just on my shelf, and then my mom decided to randomly clean one day, and let's just say one of the eyes popped out. It broke, and I had to use like clay to like barely hold it together.
One of the eyes popped out.
Yeah.
Well, CJX, like, his eyes are actually like kind of separate pieces.
Yeah.
I know this because again, shout out to my buddy Jordan, Toku Nation, Deno. He actually sent me a bunch of Junker parts, and one of them was a CJX Gold, and I was like, oh, like, well, I was like, back then I was dating someone. I was like, oh, I could send him this, and instead, he took the belt off of it. So I was like, okay, this thing is basically useless. So I guess I can use it for parts. But then, like, I was moving the head around, and then the eyes popped out. So I'm like, okay.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, no snapping, no snapping. They went
Don't
like
panel snap it, Chris. Come
in
on.
X-Aid, they went to another hip style, which is like kind of this more elongated kind of circular joint like they had with Drive. It's kind of, like it pulls out. You can see like it's like a long peg that kind of goes into the hip. But then they went back to the drop down method for build, which I know my buddy, like shout out to you, Lita. She sent me her broken cross because the joint snapped. And then, of course, with the more modern Figuarts like Saber and 01, they went back to the drop down method, but they redesigned it again. So let's see if I can pull out Saber. You see under here, they have it where it's almost similar to how the Seiho design is, but it actually is a drop down. So see, you can pull it. You see how much of a thigh gap or hip gap right there. So obviously with this line, they're high end. They are very detailed. Like we were mentioning earlier, a lot of them, they get released without all their accessories. Like for example, Saber here, he came with all of his swords except for, he came with good hand, a couple amount of hands, his sword, but not his little seiken that goes into his belt. You had to buy blades for that. But
That makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, guys, haven't you heard? If you want to like fully deck out your rider figure, you have to buy both now.
Yeah, because like back here, you guys can. I don't know if you guys can see 01 and Vulcan. Vulcan came with the attached caliber and the attached shotgun.
Right.
So if you have 01, who honestly on his own, he sometimes used the attached caliber. He didn't use it all the time. It's good to just get it by itself. But if you wanted to have that accessory, you had to get Vulcan. What you also need to do, if you wanted to get like the attached caliber in its case form, you had to buy Izu. So yeah, but that was
Bandai.
Yeah. So in terms of Figuarts, obviously we have the main, like I mentioned, we have the main retail line, which typically 3 to 4, I would say, at max releases per year. At the best, usually nowadays for Kamen Rider, it's 2.
Yeah,
Like-
it's very sparse now. Like Figuarts was a Rider line for the longest time. There was a couple anime releases sprinkled in here and there, but I want to say probably around the time that like Dragon Ball and like Tiger and Bunny were coming out.
Yeah.
Then it started to get more and more anime characters in, and
Yeah.
now there's anime and Marvel and
Oh,
Digimon and like Precure and all that, and so there's so much. They can only release so many Figuarts in a year due to line budgetation, and so whereas it was all strictly Rider, now it's Rider, and everything else.
Yeah,
I mean,
Star Wars. You have
another-
Precure, you have Tiger
Star
and
Wars,
Bunny.
I forgot Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here's my not really a question, just like something that I've noticed when it comes to the Figuarts, like, and this is me just remembering a random, what's it called, a random topic that J-Man and I had years ago, because he used to be a toy reviewer for CollectionDX.com, and I remember reading one of his reviews before we became friends, of him reviewing Imperial Dramon Chaos Mode from Digimon. And when he was reviewing that, he said, and I quote, "The figure broke at the hip joint." Now, I had something similar happen with one of my old Figuarts. I forget which one it was. I think it might have been Deca Red. My question to you two is, have any of your Figuarts ever broken? If so, what joint?
Hip joint on another Agito.
God damn it.
Let's see.
Or no, it was his head, wasn't it?
As someone who, on a
don't
constant basis takes
He's
apart
selling.
figures.
Chenik says, shout out to D-Arts. Yes.
Darts
I have-
represent.
I have a D-Arts, I actually have a D-Arts, what's it called, War Greymon on my shelf right now.
As I was saying, as somebody who is constantly taking figures apart for different purposes, You know me. A lot of times, actually, with Sentai figure arts, it was for some of them it was a wrist joint. So luckily, I had spares to replace. Hip joints for the Gokaigers, like it for Gokai Red snapped, so I had to use hips from a what you call it, from a spare Kyoryu Black I had actually. So now he has thick thighs.
Tommy Lulu says Figma Kamen Rider Sting. Oh, how were the Dragon Knight Figmas? I've heard those were good.
I really liked. I still have mine. They're at my parents' house, sitting in my old bedroom, but I still have them.
I never got them, but I was really tempted back then. But yeah, like let's see. When it comes to modern, like the more recent figure arts, like I mentioned, DN's elbows, Ix's crests. Ankh actually has the arm, has actually the wing parts of it actually have snapped. I had to glue them back on, and then like his little fabric portion of it too has like ripped off one time, so I had to rewrap it. It's not really that great. Deno's little like tip of his antenna for when he's in sword form that broke off. Yeah. So everybody, great line. Just be as careful as possible. I know it's supposed to be like, hey, it's a high limb line where you can move everything around. I mean, one of the major culprits I know of nowadays that has constant breakage is actually the Seiho line. Like I mentioned, elbows. One of my favorites, Kamen Rider O's. This is not the one that has broken elbow. The other one that has a broken elbow is over there doing a little cat pose right now because that's all I can think of to do with it. It was actually sent to me by, like I said, again, Jordan Deno, because his snapped at the elbow. They have this newer elbow design where it's supposed to be a little bit more slightly articulated. So you can see there's like a little slit right here. So it can move like this, like without having to move the bicep. Or not the bicep, but the upper arm. Why do you guys think Figuarts have issues like that quality issue? I wouldn't say it's for some of it might be quality. Like for example, when we were talking about Kamen Rider Black, I know that they switched up how his joints are made. They're more of like a softer rubbery plastic.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of pictures lately of cracking on said plastic. Not like full on snapping yet, but you can see cracks on that. So it might be that while they wanted to go with this new method, it's just not strong enough.
I actually have a question in response to Tommy's question. Are Figuarts manufactured in Japan still? Because, going slightly off topic, the recent Masterpiece Transformers figures have had really shoddy QC. Like, anybody who knows who Tigertron is knows that he's not a... Actually, wait.
It's VSP China.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, because the most recent Masterpiece figures are all from Taiwan, and like Tigertron has a really bad QC issue in his tail, to the point that MGO and several other people have reported breakages on the tail, so they have to like fold the tail up a certain way in robot mode.
The way I kind of see it is, I mean, at the end of the day, it kind of boils down to quality. Because, I mean, if they put enough testing and QC into it, they would have realized that this could be a problem. But also, the more detailed you get, ultimately, the more dangerous the toy is. And this is huge in Transformers Masterpiece, where the more detailed they get, the more tiny things that move, the more tiny panels they have, the thinner panels they have, so that they can fold it all up and it looks like it popped out of the cartoon. But at the end of the day, and translating this into figure arts, the more smaller pieces you get that might stick out, that are, instead of being made out of a soft plastic, are made out of a hard plastic because it's a high-end collector's piece, or the thinner arm joints, so you can get a little bit more articulation out of it, or it can be a little bit more accurate to the suit. The more minute things you start tacking onto a figure, and the more different materials you start using, the more thinner materials you start using, the more that the quality can get really shaky. And I think there gets to be a point where you need to sacrifice some detail in order to make a figure build that is solid. It's like at a point you have to sacrifice looks for playability.
Yeah.
And I think both Figuarts and Transformers Masterpiece are just getting to the point, particularly with Shinkocho Seiho, that they're aiming so high for a detail that ultimately something is going to suffer for it, and it usually ends up being like those really thinner pieces, like the elbow joints, the hip joints, antennas, things like that. And it's unfortunate because like if you had like a big blocky boy as a toy, obviously there's going to be significantly less chances of that breaking than something that's like slender with spikes. And so a lot of it has to do with design, but at the end of the day, it's the more detailed you get, I think the not worse off you are, because the end product looks significantly better. Like Transformers Masterpiece looks incredible. Shinkocho Seiho looks incredible. It just gets more dangerous to play with.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody going off of Rise thing about Masterpiece Transformers, I own one Masterpiece figure, and it's a KO. It's Wei Jing's Tracks. I transformed that to robot mode once. I was like, okay, I'm never going to touch this again. And I transformed it a couple weeks ago, and I did it just fine. But the whole big thing as to why I don't buy Masterpiece figures is because they're too fragile. Honestly, like I look at like MP Star Saber, I look at MP Primal, who I still kind of want because it's Primal, and I grew up Beast Wars. But it's like a big thing is like, oh, okay, so you're going to pay like $200 for a Masterpiece figure, and you're just going to look at it. Probably not. You're going to want to transform a couple times. My biggest thing is like, for that much money, I need to like not transform and just look at it. Like that's part of the reason why I don't touch my Zeo Megazord or really my Gingayo, because their old toys are hard to find, and I paid a lot of money for them. Well, Zeo Megazord I paid $20 for, but that's besides the point. Anyway,
See, the quality issue, I would definitely. Actually, yeah, at that point, I would agree. Especially with, like, the Seihos have starting to come out with, like smaller accessories that get lost as well.
For example, O's medals.
Yep, those things are tiny as hell. And like actually, if you didn't notice on the driver itself, there's little pegs to push in with that little tool that they give you, or for you to switch out those medals in case you want to do any of the combo changes. So if you're doing that, I say try to do it like on a sheet of white paper, so you see the medal. I know, for example, my buddy EB Twit, he was moving his wizard around, and the rings are on these little tiny pegs that peg into the side of the belt. So he's missing one right now, and he has not been able to find it. And it's been several months.
My Comic Theory medal was missing for days.
I actually have a question, Reggie. Since you're the only one I know who owns multiple O's Figuarts, can they can all separate, right? Like the old O's combo change figures.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're talking about the gimmick line or the
no. I mean the Shinchoku Seiho O's that you have in your hand. Can that separate into like the Taka part, the Tora part, and the Bata part?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
No, they're really good.
I thought you had one, Gary.
Yeah, Reggie, I have. Hold on. You know what? I'm just gonna like do this real quick. O's is on that shelf up there. I don't touch him at all.
I would put him lower on the shelf.
That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, I mean, Gary. So hold on.
And I'll do this while all those Figuarts that are out except for Shota. So
I have everybody here except for Gatakuriba, because Gatakuriba is still stuck in Japan.
Is Segozo out yet?
Segozo is not out yet. See, that's another thing that we can talk about is teases for releases that haven't come out yet that we're still waiting on. But yeah, see, Gary. So you can take off the bottom portion. Like there's this kind of like circular peg that pegs into the legs.
Genix also says the memories for double are loose. I know.
Oh yeah, they are. You have to be very wary with when you're moving double around. Well, it's really also dependent. Like when I had Heat Metal and Luna Trigger, Luna kept popping out, I believe, and then like right now I only have Cyclone Joker. Joker is the one that slips out of the driver a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with the O's combo change or the O's Seihos, the metals are fairly snug in there. But you have to use that tool to switch them out. But yeah, still they can get lost. Like the other day, I was doing a shoot with Tamashii combo, and I did not know where the shocker metal went, and then I finally found it. But it was like, yeah, just be very careful when you're doing with accessories. That's why like a lot of the things like do I have it in here? No, I don't. I thought I had Deanne's card in his gun. But I don't. But I know that with Decade, I have his card in his driver. But I'm still like watching him closely because with SH Figuarts they do a lot of like little accessories like back to drive, the shift card's on the side of his belt, and the shift card that's on his wrist, which is oh crap, where'd it go? Oh, it fell on the table. Back when I was living in Long Beach, he was on my shelf, and I couldn't find the shift card for days. So yeah, everybody be careful. Be careful when you're playing with these things, because they're quick to fall out. I mean, with Ghost, you didn't have to worry about it because they didn't let you remove the icon. But with XA, they went back to the accessories, so the gas shot is on this very, very small, like flat peg that plugs into the driver. So it's easy to knock out. I've noticed a couple times when I've been taking pictures that like when I was with Snipe, it was gone. So again, be careful, guys. But yeah, when it comes to Figuarts, you guys actually have various options. You have obviously, like I said, retail, which is roughly about like 2 to 3. Let's rearrange that 2 to 3 releases, depending on the year. Like with Build, you had I know you had obviously Build himself and Cross Charge for some reason rather than Cross. With Go, you had Go, Gates, and Waz. And then with 01, we went back to just 01 and Vulcan. And this year, obviously, we have Saber and Blades. There's obviously the Tamashii Web Shop Premium Bandai line that was primarily for the alternate forms or some secondary writers. For fact, let's see, Hibiki, Gatak, like those guys were only Premium Bandai. And then you had con exclusives, which were absolutely not fun. Those were like the Tamashii Nations show that like happens in October. I'm not going to grab him because he's currently sitting on his bike. Like Kamen Rider Gem, his main form, like his original, level 2, that was an exclusive. Build Hazard, Build Rabbit Tank Hazard, that was exclusive. When it comes to those convention exclusives, it seems like they try to go for redecos or like remolds if they can. Like, because obviously Gem is just a black repaint of Xaid. Rabbit Tank Hazard is just a full-on black, so that's just easy to mold. They also had Brighter Ichigo's Shinkocho Seiho Sakurajima, I believe, the original colors, and that was exclusive. But then like, last year's, was it last year? Or was it the year before? 2019, I believe. They had Rabbit Dragon, not the cross build, but the gold and silver. That was their exclusive, as well as Shinkocho DN, which was causing people, last year they had Shining Hopper and Tamashii combo. But with some of those con exclusives, you guys can also, if you have if a middleman or something like that, sometimes they do pop up to be released the following May. Shining Hopper, I know, and Tamashii, I believe they also allow those to be kind of released in May. But I think one or the other, this is what they always do with those exclusives. They make one that you can actually order like with a middleman or with like somebody like right away, but then they have the other one be lottery only. So good luck with that.
We also have a late comment on Twitter from EB. Watching stream late. It took us a month to get that black figure after the initial mess up.
It did. It really did. It was like because we were trying to reach out. This was actually with Mondarake, one of the shops that we swore never to shop from again. Their customer service did not get back to us like immediately. We had to wait a bit. So that's why, like I said, when it comes to purchasing Figuarts, guys, just be careful. because you'll see like a lot of people that either highly overprice them or do misleading lists. Like Mercari is a place like I'd like to take a look at and shop from. That's actually where I got my Kamen Rider Agito. I got that for like $40. They had a listing for Axel, but they showed the pictures of the Seiho. The listing was for the original. So, like I said, guys, when you're shopping, be very careful. Just watch out.
I just had a question. Were we going to talk about Figuarts Standard as well for certain, because they're not Figuarts, but they're kind of like Figuarts. They're more model kits, but
so let's go into let's segue of that alternatives to SH Figuarts. So obviously, if you guys are just looking for some form of representation, you don't care about articulation, you just want some rider to go up there, you can get a Rider Hero vinyl figure. Like that is, those are fairly cheap. They roughly run about like 700 to 1,000 yen at most, depending on the detail or the rider itself.
I think they retail for like around 800 to 900.
Then you have what Gary was mentioning. Mentioning? What's mentioning? Mentioning the figure rise standard. I always say figure rise because it's just easier to say, but figure rise standard. This is a line that came out.
I posted a link in. Sorry, guys. I posted in a link to Gundam Planet's rider section. If you want to throw that up on the screen, so you can take a look at it.
Well, here, can I have you be able to? Do you see an option for you to share?
Yeah, I can do that real quick.
Yeah. So, Figuarts Standard. Like now they're getting heavily into Figuarts. Originally, there was a Figuarts line way back then where they were making like kind of more like 12-inch, like 8-inch, like huge figures. Those were I think they were like primarily double back then, if I remember correctly.
I believe it started with double.
For some reason,
StreamYard isn't
letting me share my screen.
Okay.
Wait. Hold on. I got it. All right. So if you all can see it.
I think I have to approve it. Okay, there we go.
All right. So Gundam Planet is a shop in New Jersey. This is their rider section. So last week they announced Forza, not a sponsor. I like going to them because it's a good day trip for my friend and I. But they have Forza, they got Agito. I was curious about this. I know back in the day they did an MG Figuarts Cyclone Joker.
Yeah, Figuarts. Well, when you say MG, the Master Grade Figuarts. They did. I believe that's where I was thinking about for the doubles.
Yeah,
that's where they have like, Cyclone Joker, Heat Metal, Luna Trigger, O's Tataba combo. That's one I have to get, and Ichigo. Yeah. So like this is like their modern take on it for that new MG. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Figuarts standards are roughly about they're more of American size, like 6 to 7 inch tall figures. Depending on the angles, you can make them kind of fit in with your Figuarts. That's why I got Hibiki. I know I saw a lot of Japanese customizers like making some slight, shaving down of the parts so that way they can make them that height. Like that's what I kind of intend to do when I get my Phison. But yeah, it's a good line. It's a fairly affordable line. You can see some of the prices there on Gary's screen.
Yeah, so I will say this much though: be careful with for example, the double one, because I actually bought the Cyclone Joker one when it first came out. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, it broke at the ankle joint, and then I tried to finish the mount kit, and I was like, okay, I'll just super glue the ankle in. Ended up breaking at the double driver. But when it comes to when it comes to the forms, they're doing Heat Metal, Luna Trigger, and for some reason they decided all the dental forms are going to be all their own releases, which is really smart. But I wish they were a little bit cheaper, because to pay $200 for 4 model kits. Now, granted, I've seen my friend do that once with 5 master grades. That says a point. Also, another thing to keep in mind is when it comes to the Figuarts versus Figuarts. Figuarts model kits have a lot of stickers. For example, I'll get up in a second. I'm going to go get my my gem. But I saw a video for Ryuki I can't change my screen right now, but like a lot of these details on Drag Rider are all stickers. And for me in particular, and I know Chenix and I have had many conversations about this as well, stickers are kind of a nuisance. In fact, one second, I will go retrieve my gem, and I'll show you guys just how bad the stickers are.
Yeah, so like we were mentioning, these are model kits, so obviously they could do what they wanted and like say paint up those pieces, but a lot of times they mold them in these like these specific sprues. So like you have obviously Drag Rider is primarily red, so that's why all of his details are silver and black, so that's why they need the stickers. If they wanted to like do like a high end version of the model, because I know that like a lot of the premium Bandai stuff, I believe, does come pre-painted in some way, or painted enough that you don't have to worry about having to put stickers besides some stuff. I think that like if that was the case, it would have been great, but for it to be a retail release, that's why they had to go with the sticker route.
I mean, also this is just done like a comparison between right. I'll stop sharing my screen now. And actually, hold on, Reggie, keep talking for like another 30 seconds. Sorry, I'm gonna do a comparison between Gundam and what's called Kamen Rider for stickers.
Yeah, right. Have you purchased any Figuarts stand?
I have Hibiki that's not built yet. Because
it's a fun build.
I don't have time in my life for model kits, but I keep buying them.
Okay, so real quick, I'll show off this comparison real quick. So this is the Master Grade Wing Gundam.
Well, see, that's where you're pointing out Master Grade, higher quality.
Yeah, but like I'm using this as an example, but I could also grab a high grade. Like the old high grades for Gundam had a lot of stickers. Like I have I actually have a complete collection of the G Gundam ones from like way back in the day, and like those have a lot of stickers.
I think high grade would be the better comparison than to the Figuarts standard.
Let me go get one then. Hold on.
To Master Grade, because Master Grade is like more of the more high end line of the Gundam. Like
makes sense. It's called Master Grade.
I know.
I could have also grabbed an LBX because I do have one.
LBX.
By the way,
Reggie, I do that all the time too.
Fun fact: I got into LBX because of Rai. So this is like a more recent release. This is the high grade after Colony. High grade Future Century Heavy Arms. The only real stickers here are the eyes. What?
Chris will get it.
So anyway, the stickers on this one are literally just the back piece the back has. I mean, not give you guys a headache. The back piece is a sticker. The stickers are like the side skirts and the eyes, and there's a little green sticker on here on the head, and on the chest of Heavy Arms there's a little blue sticker. When it comes to the figure eyes, oh Lord, okay.
Oh Lord.
So the eyes on Gem are all stickers. I believe the chest piece is stickers. Like this entire thing is stickers.
You said the eyes are all stickers. Is it like just the eye itself, or do you have to put like the white and then the red and then the black and then the red?
No, it's just the the eye stickers. Like
okay, it's all one piece type sticker. Okay. They had me worried there. Like you can have somebody with a cross-eyed Gem stuff out there.
The Gamer Driver logo, that's a sticker. There's a sticker on the Gamer Driver. Also, all these lines here, these are all stickers.
I'm fairly certain on the Figuart, the Gamer Driver thing.
The individual lines are stickers, or is
the individual lines are stickers.
Are they at least molded in? Or
no?
Oh boy.
Oh.
Well, I mean, there are spaces for them to go. Like, hold on, I'm gonna try to.
R.I.P. to my buddy who's looking forward to ordering the next one.
Like, see, there are ridges for the stickers to go, but they're still stickers.
I mean, it's not too bad if they're ridges. I understand it's annoying because they're stickers, and like if one of those lines messes up, like or gets ripped or starts peeling,
Also, real quick, so this
It makes the whole thing look like hot garbage.
So
but at least there's ridges. If there wasn't ridges, that would be a nightmare.
don't remember because it's been a while, but this is the Mighty Action Gamer Level 2 Gashat. I think that's a sticker.
Probably.
I mean, that's good because with the actual figure art, you don't even get the detail on the Gashat. You have to get a third-party accessory for or third-party sticker set. I mean, that's a lot of the thing with the Seiho. You have like those highly hyper detailed little accessories to go with the rider's stuff. Like all those medals obviously are molded.
Sorry,
you're good. You're good.
Please.
At least like with some of the stuff, like say drive shift car is at least painted with the white lines, but a lot of the stuff for the main lines, it's usually not painted. I mean, there's like slight details, like with 01, his progress key, there's a little hopper detail at the end of it, but if you pull it out, like there's no like text or no like little hopper skeleton skeleton thing on the progress key itself. So that's why
Yeah, I mean, also something else about about Figuarts is standard. Like they do more like the Figuarts. They do more lines than just Kamen Rider. Like Kamen Rider is their bread and butter, but they also do like Dragon Ball Z, and they also do Digimon. Like they
are we talking Figuarts still?
Yeah, we're talking Figuarts.
We talking Figuarts still.
right.
Oh, you have Machine Drama?
This will get built in 5 years.
I mean, the only other non-right that so I have
send it to me and it'll be built in 5 days.
I'll build it in a day. But like the only other like figurized model I have other than Gem is Blackboard Greymon. And I
bought Blackboard Greymon and I got HL Jade on it and then never got it.
Oh, they canceled on you?
Yeah, I have Imperial Dramon, but that also isn't built yet. But
see, they announced they're doing a Black Metal Gurumon, and since I have a Blackboard Greymon, like I kind of need it. But they're also doing a Gallantmon too.
If they make Black Metal Gurumon, that means that they have to make Omega
Black Omnimon.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the. Oh wait, I lied. I do have the Omnimon one. The Omnimon one's fun.
Let me see if I can pull up the Tamashii, so at least people can see what's coming. Because obviously, like we were mentioning, Figuarts releases, they're all coming out. This is a good website that I like to go to, is a Tamashii item scheduler, so you can actually see what's coming out soon. I know there's like a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, I got that pre-ordered, I got that. Like, but guys, keep in mind, pre-orders come fast, so you're gonna be you gotta keep on that. But like I was saying, because this is gonna also illustrate what Ryan was saying earlier about the prices increasing a lot. So let's put share screen to show up on here. This is a release schedule for May. Obviously, you can see here we have the Hulk. That's not a Kamen Rider, but in terms of Kamen Rider stuff, there's not much in terms of retail. I mean, there is that 30th or 50th anniversary Geo that you can only get at a certain venue.
Is there anything extra in that, or is it
no? It's just a rebox. It's just a new box. I checked the accessories. It's just a new box. So if any of you guys are going with Metal Man to try and get that thing, I hope you just don't have a Geo yet. But you're still not going to get any weapons with that. Under the exclusives, though, you can see there's a lot of things coming, like Complete Form Decayed. That got actually pushed back. Those were actually supposed to be in March, but it got pushed back for a delay. I'm guessing that possibly like accessories or printing that wasn't ready for it yet. You can see a price here excluding the tax versus including. You have Glydon Glydon Light-TR. Glydon
Light-TRs.
You have 01 Shiny Hopper, like I mentioned before. That was one of those that they offered afterwards. I wish I got that. And then
Reggie, you skipped over Ultraman Zero's cape.
Ultraman Zero's cape. Yes, for our Ultra fans out there, Ultraman Zero's cape, cloak, also an exclusive.
Exclusive cape.
Yeah, the exclusive cape. It was also a convention exclusive that they are now releasing, or that will come out in May. And of course, in terms of Kamen Rider, you have Caliber Jack, more of Jaku Dragon.
Jack Dragon.
Wait, did
It's jacked.
did you just say Jackie Chan Dragon?
I said Jack Dragon, but we can
And,
Jackie Chan Dragon if you want to.
Jugless
Jackie
Juggler,
Chan,
who apparently is now translated to Juggling Juggler.
Juggling Juggler, as if his name couldn't get any more redundant.
Wait, but Reggie,
let me tell you a story about Jugless Juggler.
Ooh, I want to hear this.
So right behind me on this shelf right here that has DVDs and cards and mess, he was hanging out up there around where Plushie Vulcan is, if he's in shot.
I think so, yeah.
Here, let me.
They were hanging out over there. I had Orb and Big Jugs hanging out, and I didn't hit the shelf. I might have walked by the shelf. I don't remember. The details are blurry. But he fell. He face planted. He was down for the count. He skydived. And
he did not jiggle or juggle.
He did not juggle. And so I looked down, broke right at the hip. Ooh. And so like I'm upset because Big Jugs is the best Ultraman character ever. And
Big Jugs.
So like I'm ticked off. I'm like, okay, cool, great. I'll have to try to fix this. He'll lose his hip articulation, but he'll be able to stand, I guess. Yeah. 2 days after that happened, Tamashii is like, here's an Ultraman Z version of Big Jugs. And I'm like, did you orchestrate that? Did you press a button and then everyone's Big Jugs Figuarts just plummeted to the ground?
We sense that buyer will need it. We must get it right to buy it.
So I was like, do I want this? And then a couple days after that, they're like, oh, we're doing an Ultra Action figure version. I'm like, cool, I'll go for the cheaper route.
That's the cheaper option. But yeah, we're going through the months. But yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, I just love how the Japanese language just translates for us. Because, like, on the last page that Reggie was on, there was a Birder and Guldo set for the DBZ Figuarts, and it said Birth and Guldo. I'm like, guys, Kamen Rider Birth, my favorite, my favorite alien in freaking DBZ.
Shout out to J Mad 14 on Twitter, who is still actively waiting for them to release Seiho Birth. Because
same though.
I would do that too.
You guys saw that little diorama that I made the other day, right? For my photography. There's actually I painted a little birth with a question mark right next to it as one of the graffiti arts on the wall. So
if they make a Seiho Birth with like Date's actor's head, I will buy 12.
I mean, if they can do that for Toya with why haven't we gotten more of the tech-based writers with their head sculpts? I mean, that's where often we see those figures anyway. It's like, or those release, or in the series we typically see tech-based writers with their helmets off and stuff like that. Why don't they just do more of that? I mean, it'd be cool if they did that for Vulcan. I mean, I love that for Vulcan. I love what's said for Vulcan. I mean, I see a lot of third-party people creating or trying to do their best to make heads that resemble the writers, but the hairline or the hair works, but the face itself is not as good.
Yeah, it was always really weird to me that like they did that for Otoya, and like they haven't done it since.
Yeah,
and like I know Eeks is still relatively recent, and they could start doing it for other ones, but it seemed like this really one-off instance, and I didn't really know why.
Yeah, I'm really hoping when they make Rising, that they'll do Nago's head on that. That'd be cool. Yeah, but in June we have Ultraman from Shin Ultraman coming out. So so if you guys go onto this website, tamashii.jp/I'm schedule, it'll show you what's coming out each month and also break them down versus when it says general over the counter sale, that's the retail, and then they have the Tamashii web below. So June we have Bravo King Dorian. Dorian
King
Gray.
Dorian.
We have Kamen Rider Espada Lambdor Lengina.
Lambdor Legina. Sounds like a venereal disease.
Lambdor.
Lambdor Lengina. July is when we're gonna get like let's see, I'll pull up July.
You're what?
We have Seiho Taiga. Seiho Taiga multi-type. I know so many people that wanted that thing, and that pre-order sold out.
Tiga's by far one of, if not the most popular Ultra in Japan.
And I believe that he's supposed to have light up eyes, or this might just be how the picture is. But if he does come with the light up eyes, I'm gonna be like, I don't watch Ultraman, but I regret not getting that thing.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, what's it called?
This expensive, not figure art thing. But
I remember people complaining about how Tokyo Collectibles only had a certain number of pre-orders up, and he had to mark them for a little bit higher than normal. I want the Draconic Knight Figure, but I can't make it work that month.
Of course, we have Rider Zeronosu Al-Tile.
Kamen Rider died.
Kamen Rider died.
I love Naki, they, them, that best. I am excited for that. But we have Zeronos, Altile, and Kamen Rider died. Saber Dragonic Knight, and then Ultraman Gauge Galaxy Rising. August is one of the...
Kamen Rider died is my favorite one so far.
Same.
August is going to be a Rider heavy month.
Kamen Rider Daku Kiba.
Daku Kiba. So back then, I believe that Dark Kiba was an exclusive. Was it, right?
Yeah.
Or was it retail?
No, it was retail.
Okay.
Because it came out the same time as Emperor Form. Like, they came out on the same day.
Oh, okay.
If I remember correctly.
All right, but yeah, this is Dark Kiba. We skip Saga and go to Dark Kiba.
Yeah, I don't
know
how...
because they could use the Kiba part, or the Kivat part at least. That belt, they could use that. Just remake pieces and then eventually use this for... Sorry, I felt like I was going to burp. For Emperor Form. So that's likely why they went for Dark Kiba first. Or Dark Kiba.
It's crazy to me that, one, Saga still doesn't have a toy. And two, Dark Kiba got retail released twice.
Yeah. And this is our first ever special resale that they're doing. Omaggio or Maggio.
Omaggio.
It's Italian. Omaggio.
Oh, it's Omaggio.
But yeah, Kamen Rider Omaggio is getting like a re-release in August. This was part of that special campaign that they were doing for hey, which rider would you like to see re-released? And then they didn't include Valkyrie or Horobi, which after I'm done showing all these upcoming releases, that's what we're going to talk about is Figuarts gripes. And then Orthrus Balkan. Which
that sounds
Balkan.
So what they did was, I know what you're gonna go for, Gary, but that's not.
I was just gonna say Orthrus Balkan just sounds like an alien name. You think about it.
Yeah. So this was one of those releases that was kind of not really anticipated by people. I mean, like, they knew that it's an easy redeco of Assault Vulcan, just with the added accessories of the claws. But this was something that they didn't anticipate because they were doing the kind of like Rider 50th anniversary, every month they do a new reveal. So they were thinking like, oh, okay, maybe they're going to reveal the other members of that poll, because they were saying like the top 5 were going to be re-released. So, obviously Omaggio was the first reveal back in January. And then Orthrus Vulcan, now they got me headed it. Orthrus Vulcan was revealed in February, which, kind of threw everybody off. And I think that the most recent reveal, in March we had the Satan Saber, which is not a figure art. And then as of the end of April, we had Kamen Rider Eden revealed. So Dyna Action, Shin Ultraman, another super tall version of Ultraman, not a figure art, but we have Ultraman. Ultraman, is it Z or did they say C?
I mean, Z is pronounced Zet in Japan, so it's technically Zet. But
Okay.
whatever you want it to be, really.
Yeah, Zet is going to be one of the retail releases. September, we also have Kuga Growing Form, which a lot of people did not anticipate either, because I mean, it's Kuga before he's Kuga. But what's kind of cool about that release is that it actually comes with little accessories to go with your Kuga Dragon form and Pegasus form, in the form of like the little traffic cone separator for Dragon to transmutate into the Dragon Rod, and Ichijo's handgun for Pegasus form. And we also got comic. So
Don't remind me. That's the one build form I
am-
wish I could get the Figuart for.
I am excited for this because I love build and I love Nin comic. Nin comic is probably one of my favorite of the not combos, but the form change. What's the exact name for the form change for build? It's funny. I said like I love build. I can't remember what they call the build forms.
Best matches.
But best matches. There we go. Why did I say combo change?
This is why you keep me around, Reggie. I will say
this was also another form that this was also another figure that was not anticipated by people, because like obviously we haven't gotten Hulk Gatling, we haven't gotten Rocket Panda, which is another one I would really love to get. Fire Hedgehog. We haven't gotten any of those forms, but people are like saying like, oh, this is because it's representative of a certain character that I won't spoil on. We'll do about that when we do our build episode in August for some reason. But
by the way, so my only real gripe with the fact that they're doing when Nin comic this late in the game is, Rai, Reggie, and I are functional adults. At least I think I am. The jury's still out. I really want Nin comic, but I wish it wasn't so expensive. But I understand, the material. Hasbro even said the other day, just going off topic, like, hey, all of our toy prices are going up. It's because raw material is getting harder and harder to get. Pretty soon, all of our toys, you guys, will not be made out of plastic. They'll be made out of air.
Yeah, because they're gone.
Also,
it's a weird and fickle thing. Obviously, it's and that's honestly like the biggest reason I stopped buying them as much as I did. Like I was 100% completist. Character I didn't like, didn't care, bought it. But when everything started to shift to more and more exclusives, like when you guys were talking, I was looking at the list of like retail releases for just Rider, and 2019 I think had 3, not counting Shinkocho Seiho. I think 2019 had 3 and 2020 had 4, and one of them was Ankh, the hand. So I don't know if he actually counts. No, it was 3 and one of them was Ankh. It was literally just 0-1 and Vulcan. And so everything else was exclusives, and it's not as huge of a deal.
Last year,
what?
We had Tachidora in the Tachaba reissue.
No, I said I wasn't doing Shinkocho Seihos.
Oh, okay.
I was just looking at the list of normal retails.
Well, Ankh is technically under the Seiho line because they did have him released as like accessory back then, and then they had his own like stand set.
No,
so he is a Seiho. So it's great.
Yeah, he doesn't count anyway. And it's like it's not as big of a deal in Japan because they can just hop on there, order it, and they have to pay a little bit extra for the premium. But it's not as huge of a deal over there. But like here, we have to pay a middleman and have them ship it to them and then to us, and it adds anywhere from $15 to $20 a pop on these figures sometimes. And so you're looking at a $70 figure that's now a $90 to $95 figure. And it just got to the point where it's like even sparsely buying them is still a lot. And it's a shame because like as they keep looking better and better and better, the ability to buy them is going down and down and down just because of how much they cost.
But yeah, comment. They skipped Bill Genius and went straight into Grand Geo. Yeah, Grand Geo is another one of those releases. And like I was saying, they keep popping out and they keep increasing in price, and middleman hard thing. And like with Grand Geo too is one of those instances of a figure art that does not come with everything. Like Grand Geo literally just has those hands you see there and gripping hands. That's it. You don't get any of the weapons. You don't get anything.
He's
So
$85.
yeah, Ultimate Gamma Future, and we won't talk about this guy. You be gone. But yeah,
He's also
obviously,
like $80. Like what?
yeah, this website, this is Tamashii's release schedule. You get to see everything. Like, okay, there's a secondary. I guess. Oh, it probably sold out, and that's why they. Oh, it looks like this also sold out. So, Gamma Future. It says second shipped in October. Order has ended.
That is very
So,
popular.
yeah, it got sold out already. Oh yeah, there's nothing. No Kamen Riders revealed yet for October.
Also, Gamma features the one with Tiga in it, so
yeah, so
it's probably everyone's favorite form of Zet.
So like what we were saying, guys, these Figuarts to get more and more harder to obtain, and that's where we're going into Figuarts gripes.
Yes.
So, for example, 01, a period of time, COVID hit, they released 3 certain characters. Of those 3 characters, 2 of them are now almost near impossible to obtain, and those would be Valkyrie and Hirobi. Valkyrie, luckily I have a guy who managed to do like a quick auction, so I've got one on the way, but it's going to take several months because this is in Singapore. But Hirobi, that guy, near impossible. Hirobi was released roughly in, I believe, either June or August of 2020. And, obviously as the main villain writer back then, people would really want to get him. Obviously, COVID hit, so it was hard to obtain. If you were to look at the aftermarket, roughly a couple months afterwards, he skyrocketed from the original price of roughly 6,600 to 13,000. But if you try to find him nowadays, this is April of 2021 when we're recording this episode, or actually now it's May 2021 if we're recording this episode, he's skyrocketed to, at bare minimum, 20,000 yen. So this is obviously a guy I'll never own, unless they do a reissue, which I'm really hoping they do. Bandai, Tamashii, I know you guys watch the stuff that me and my friends do. Please make him.
Yeah,
available again.
Keep in mind, Hirobi was an exclusive that was only about $60 before like fees and all that, and so like to see the price almost, more than 3 times the price on average is absolutely insane. And it's one of the drawbacks of everything getting so shifted to web shop, is at least when it was retail, there would be more out there, and then the chances of it hitting like a discount or a sale was always, I don't want to say relatively high, but you had significantly more chance. And like now, way back, there was always that shot of, I might be able to find it on Mandarake for a little cheaper.
Yeah,
that barely exists now. Some characters that just aren't popular, that can still happen to, but like these main secondary riders like Hirobi and Valkyrie and Jin. I don't know what Jin's.
Jin is one of those that, like I was mentioning, was released during that period of time, but he's roughly stayed at the same price. Like you can find. Well, people love Jin, but I know that a lot of people were hoping or waiting for. If I can grab him. And in October 01, whatever. They were more waiting for this version to come out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, is that Burning Falcon?
This is Burning Falcon, yeah.
All
my
right,
buddy, shout out to my buddy Prinny for getting this for me for my birthday. Thank you, man. But yeah, they had this option at least. With Hirobi and Valkyrie. Valkyrie has Lightning Hornet. She also has, if you wanted it to go like technical, the Jackal Raider. They could have gone with that as a release as well, but they haven't yet. So that's why Valkyrie has been skyrocketing up that high. Hirobi really is just Hirobi or spoilers. I mean, we're going to talk about this in the 01 episode anyway next in 2 weeks. Oh, whoops, sorry, spoiler. Arc Scorpion as the other form for Horobi, or if you guys wanted to go technical, Metsubo Jinrai, Kamen Rider Metsubo Jinrai, but that obviously the movie just came out, so they're not going to make him a figure art yet. But that's the other option for Horobi. But like I said, they're not releasing these other options yet, so that's why these two are escalating, while Jin is roughly staying the same price. Vulcan, a little bit higher at the 4,500 mark. I think he was just I think actually no, he was the same price or a little bit lower, or a little bit higher than his aftermarket. 01 though was one of those that released with the 3,000, 2,000 mark for yen, and then now he's like at the 55,000. So, unfortunately,
and it's a shame because like as these characters are getting new forms, the chance of anything Valkyrie getting a figure besides her main form is honestly very slim.
I mean, I just have a general question. So, out of all of the female writers, like granted, we've had what, like less than 12 in the Heise era. Wasn't Kivala the first to get a figure art, and then they did Femme? Oh, Femme was first.
I think Femme was first.
I think Femme was first.
Femme was first.
I know Kivala was the first retail.
Yeah, because Femme was exclusive, and so was Tackle. We count her.
How Kivala got retail, I have no idea.
Easy. Somebody at Bandai, I was at Hasbro, was like, "Oh, we love Decade. It's okay."
Yeah, because when you think about it, because the original Decade, because you have Neo Decade, the original Seiho for Decade was retail. Like I said, Deanne was the exclusive for convention. Kuga Mighty Form, the Decade version, was retail. Kivala was retail. So I keep knocking things over back here. So guys, what about your guys' figure art grapes?
All right. Well, mine's just short and simple. I really don't have any, because here's the thing: I'm not as invested into figure arts as you and Rai are, Reggie. But if I really had to say one, it's just not releasing what they tease. Like going back to the whole Rio Melee thing. As a fan of Geki Ranger, I would have loved those, and I know at least 3 or 4 other people who would also love that. But I guess if I really had one, it's just not a lot of reissues. Going back to what you were saying about Horobi and Valkyrie not getting like reissued because they're popular. I mean, as a guy who's like a fan of Build and Blade, if they were like, yeah, we're gonna do a Shinshoku Seiho Blade King form, it's gonna be Tamashii web exclusive. Have fun. I'd be like, I can't curse on the show, but you know what I would say. I'd be really annoyed.
F is for friends who do stuff together.
U is for you and me.
C is for. But yeah, I get it, Gary. Like that's like we were mentioning earlier. Yeah, the more and more exclusive we get, the harder it is to get these things.
I mean, what's to stop them eventually from making like 99% of Rider figure arts exclusives and literally just making the base
point already?
Yeah, like 99%. Like you only.
Yeah,
like
it's not a situation of what's stopping them. It's from this is already happening. Like we got 01 and we got Vulcan, and pretty much the entire rest of the line is all exclusive.
And so Saber and Blades.
For Saber, it's just Saber and Blades are just the only retail. Everything else is
everything else is exclusive. Yeah,
like we mentioned, like we showed earlier. Caliber is the next release. He comes out in May. He's exclusive. Lampdor
Langina is
Espada is also exclusive. Dragonic Knight is exclusive. If there is by some miracle that they make a retail exclusive for Saber, which I honestly highly doubt, that'll be huge. I mean, obviously right now Saber, like, I mean, I'm enjoying it, but I know that it's right now like one of the lowest rate shows in terms of toy sales. So
it is.
Yeah, that's why I was able to get. I mean, I moved them over there, but that's why I was able to get like the emblem for like only 800 yen aftermarket.
Well, so. I mean, here's the thing, and I said this during our Saber episode. Rider, and I understand, Kamen Rider is a toy-based franchise, and they need to sell toys. How about stop spamming new forms every, 3 episodes? Because I'm making my way through 01 right now, and the episode I'm up to, Aruto just got Shining Hopper.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed while I'm watching the show, he used each of the other progress keys once or twice at most, with the exception of Freezing Bear, which is still a great name. He used that 3 times. Let the forms breathe. Parents can't, especially in a pandemic. People can't go out and afford all these noisemakers.
Japan had a little bit more freedom than we did.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. The king of Rider, I know, is toys. But like I said, here's an example. Build. Build showed that even if you're going to do new forms every episode, at least make the releases kind of sporadic. Am I right on that, or am I wrong? I might be misremembering something.
Build was pretty sporadic.
Yeah.
It got more... I don't even say it got more spread out later, because then they started doing Legend Rider sets as well.
I remember those.
I would have to go look at the specific calendars again, but Riders never really let up pretty much ever.
Yeah, it's been a ever since they started doing gimmicks, gimmick items, they've been kind of heavy on things.
And Gary, honestly, this is completely off topic. But the main reason that they spam forms is that, numerically, I don't even think that's the word I'm looking for, but statistically speaking,
there we go.
The gimmicks that don't associate with forms, or have very minute form changes, like drives, and wizards, in particular, generally have lower sales than those that associate with forms, because there's not as much of a visual attachment. So it's like, this item changes 01 into this form. This form looks cool. I want it. Compared to this wizard ring makes wizard's hand get big. Who cares? Or this car drives tire to have spikes on it. Who cares?
That's fair.
And so they're kind of, just based on how things are selling, they're kind of forced to do this form spam in the first core of the show. And then finally, once they get to that midpoint, they're like, okay, we can mellow out now. But no, I don't disagree that it's very obnoxious. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Especially when things are just so random, to the point where you're spending the first part of the show going like, okay, 4 books are coming out this month. Shoot me. And then later on, it's like, okay, nothing is coming out this month.
Yeah, I mean, I remember conversations with Chenix about when we got the first quarter toy listings for Saber. I remember exactly. We had what, 6 swords and 12 books that you had to buy individually, and those books can get expensive unless you're on Monterake and you get lucky. But going back to Figuarts, I'm sorry that we keep going off topic. I guess my only real gripe is just, like I said, the price, everything that. Them neglecting cool forms. I would love to own Nin Comic, but Kaizoku Resha for Build.
Which is funny when you think about it, because with what we're talking about, Metal Build, for example, he comes with Kaizoku Resha's bottles and weapon. So that's a possibility if you think about it, especially Nin Comic is actually one of the ones that they didn't have a weapon for. So he definitely came out of left field, because they had the weapon for Hog Gatling, they had the weapon for Kaizoku Resha, obviously Key Dragon, they could just use Beat Crosser But
Mhm.
yeah, but then in comic he was out left field, out of nowhere. So
Anything else you guys want to talk about Figuarts wise, or you want to roll into the questions because it's 2:45 and
oh yeah, we're
Yeah, I don't have any additional gripes that I haven't griped about already.
yeah.
Oh,
besides the
I
prices.
will say this though, it's 2021 and it took us 11 or 12 years to get to the point where we're having third-party add-ons for Figuarts.
Well, yeah, think about it. Like toy companies are quick to crack down on that stuff.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I well, we'll talk about that off camera. But yes, it's an upgrade because of little sticker pieces that you can have on here. Like for Saber's book, it was undetailed, so I got that sticker set. So and then 01, if I can, I put him back on the shelf. Whatever. They have like a light up head, like with the little CR927 battery that like it's magnet activated. So if you put it next to a magnet, it'll turn on. So, but yeah, like those are cool that we're getting those accessories, but at the same time, like yeah, it's because of toy companies cracking hard on those third parties. So if like the fact that we're getting them now, it's lucky enough. But yeah, if you really want those accessories, I would say try to get them ASAP before they crack down and tell them to stop. But yeah, let's go on to the questions, Gary. We had, I think, just the one from ED.
Well, I mean, I also want to include Tommy's too, because believe it or not, I was having a rough day at work. I saw that pop up on my phone, and I'm just like, Tommy Lulu, if we ever meet in person, I will buy you a drink.
Okay, anyway. I thought that was going to go another way.
No, I like Tommy Lulu. He's fun. All right. So
no, it's because like you said that because like if we ever meet in person, and I was having a bad day at work. I'm like,
I will probably do the same thing I did with Raya at PMC 3 years ago. I'll give her a big hug.
I like dry hugs.
Anyway, moving on to the question. EB Twit says, if you all combine forces of your choice, could they defeat EB's Figuart army? I have one thing to say to that, my friend. I have a Dive Voyager that's very heavy, and I also have.
So are we just talking about a Figuart army or all toys?
He said toys.
He just said toys, and like that was your grave mistake, my friend. I have a lot of toys.
Same here.
If it was just Figuarts, you'd definitely win because I probably only have like maybe 15 Figuarts in my possession right now. But toys, I've got enough Transformers to obliterate you out of the world. So,
yes,
I'm trying to sell most of them, but do you really want to get bubble-headed to death by Funko Pops?
Your pop collection,
Funko Pops.
Yeah, I'm trying to get.
You just got popped.
Reggie, it's funny. I was on YouTube last week and I saw a clip from Pawn Stars, and they were like, and some guy brought in like really rare Funko Pops or so. I'm like, I need to send this to Reggie. Maybe you should just go to the Gold Silver Pawn Shop and just sell them.
Honestly, if there was a pawn shop nearby here, or like if my comic book store would actually accept buying pops, then I would just clear out that Mount Pop that's in my guest room right now, because I'm keeping all of the Overwatch ones, I'm keeping all of the Power Ranger ones, I'm keeping Spider-Man and Iron Man. So it's like, yeah, all these other things, can I just get rid of them at this point, please? I mean, this was a phase, a really bad spending phase. But yeah.
Our other question comes to us from Tommy Lulu with a U in the tweets. Why does Figuarts? To which I replied, "Think you spend so much money, not complete lines? The world needs to know, Tommy. What do you want to know?
Why does Figuarts?"
Tommy, I don't got the answer, but I heard Yoshi Star so does. So go ask him.
All right. So normally,
anybody is viewing right now? Do you guys have any questions for us? I know we have like 4 viewers. Probably one of them is me, just making sure that this thing is still up.
One of them is me because I have the stream still up. Oh, we have a comment from Shitty Star Gamer. They shipped Build Genius and went right to Grand Geo.
Oh, I said that earlier.
Oh, and then lucky my girlfriend got her Force Riser and Sting Scorpion Progrise key way before the COVID hit. But I agree, COVID made things almost next to impossible to get. Say that to anybody in America who has a Walmart and or Target and they have really bad toy sections. Speaking from experience here.
I've bought so much stuff online.
Yeah,
last year.
with
Same here.
It wasn't even like the pandemic causing me to not shop as much, because I was still doing grocery shopping like once
Yeah.
a week or so. But it was just like the stores just sucked ass.
I mean,
I was like,
I don't know what
okay,
it's.
it's time to go online. Let's do it.
I don't know what it's like for you guys, but for
Go
me,
fools.
I had to order Air Razor, Bractonite, and Hover from Kingdom. I want that puppy, Brian. I hope you know I'm gonna come to your house and I'm going to hug that dog.
Hi, Pupper. Who's
Yes.
your cute doggy?
But so I had to order all 3 of those off of Best Buy because
Yeah, I ordered all of Kingdom Wave 2 off of my favorite toy store, bestbuy.com.
mine too. But the whole thing for me is because I'm in New York, and New York distribution is about as bad as the Jersey Shore TV series, and it is like not fun. I don't feel like wasting gas money anymore to go to like Walmart or Target. Heck, even my card game locals where I go to play Vanguard and Magic, they're getting toys in now too. So if I ever want anything, I can just go there. Like I'm right now contractually obligated to buy Goliath from Mika because it's Goliath and gargoyles. So it's like, you know what? I'm not risking anything. I'm gonna go order it online. I will say this much also though. Rye, out of Kingdom Wave 2, what's your favorite figure and why is it Air Razor?
Because Air Razor's the best.
Yes.
I mean, the thing in particular with Air Razor is the fact that one, Air Razor was always a favorite character of mine. Well, you are tangled in my headphone wire. Air Razor was always a favorite character of mine. She's only ever gotten 2 toys, and one was Transmetal and wasn't even in the show.
Actually, no.
So-
If I recall correctly, she got like original basic, the Transmetal one, the Bodcon one, if you count that, and this one.
Oh, the one that was Energon's Slug Slinger. Yeah.
And then I think there was also the
I do.
Beast Wars repaint of the Transmetal one. I know Cheetor got one, and so did Rhinox.
Oh yeah, Armada got
Yeah.
one too. I wasn't counting repaints though.
So I actually had a Figuarts related question for the two of you that I asked
Okay.
before we started recording. Give me your top 5 dream Figuarts. Can be from any franchise ever created.
Okay. So actually, let's let our guests go first because
Yeah,
I have a
Rye,
lot to say.
There it goes.
Yeah,
Can
Rye,
you-
the floor is yours, my friend.
Can you go? She wants to go to the bed, but one of the cats is in the bed right now, and so she's very distraught.
All those in chat, please reply back with hugs for the pupper.
I will owe her that many hugs after the show.
Yeah.
But I mean, mine's probably fairly obvious. Arm Hibiki. It's my favorite final form. It's my favorite rider suit in general. They gave me Hibiki. They gave me Hibiki Kurenai. Finish it. Finish the line. Like that's honestly like the last Hibiki related figure that I feel like they really need to make.
Wait.
If they
Right.
wanted to, they could do Kabuki as well, just so you can have the DN.
That would be really cool if they could do Kabuki.
Right? Do you have Todoroki? Because I know you're a fan of Kenji Matsuda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got all the Hibiki ones that are out. All 5 of them.
Yes.
Mm.
Technically, it's only 3 because 2 of them are repaints, but that's
Yeah.
there. So I mean, Arm Hibiki is like my easy number 1 instant pre-order. Kiva and an updated Dark Kiva were always up there, and then those are happening. I never was really asking for an updated Ixa, but that happened. I can't think of too many in the rider sphere that I'd be dying for other than Arm Hibiki. But if we're branching out into other things, Digimon, I would love a Mega Gargomon, or Ulforce Vidramon. Both of those would be great. God, my scope of franchises is so narrow that would actually apply to a figure. So I'm trying to pluck from.
I'm making you think, and I
or
love
another.
it.
like if by chance they were still doing Sentai or jump back into Sentai, obviously Wolzard or Wolzard Fire would be up there. Um, Shishiro Ryan would be another Sentai related one that I would love.
If they do that, then Sentai 5 will have a heart attack, and we need him.
But yeah, like just offhand, those are the ones that are coming to mind. Like I said, like I love Transformers, but those would never be Figuarts related. I don't watch enough anime really to pick anime characters.
Now announce SH Figuarts Sam Witwicky.
Please, I would buy a figure at Shia LaBeouf in a heartbeat.
Now, here's a question, though. Are we going to have him as he appeared in the movie, or are we going to have him shirtless with all his tattoos?
I don't care, either or.
Actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf. Yeah.
All right, so do you want me to answer, or do you want to answer first, Reggie?
I can either or, Gary. We're running close to 2 hours, man.
All right, so I'll answer. I'll answer because so number one from Card Fight Vanguard, Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion or Blaster Blade, because then they could do an easy repaint into Blaster Dark.
This isn't Figuarts related because this would be in Robot Tamashii. Does that line still exist? I honestly don't know.
Yes, they do.
Yes, somewhat. I think that we saw some pictures.
But please give me Daiyusha and Daikaiser and Dailiner. Like Dailiner, I can fudge because I'm looking at the E5 Shinkali and I'm like, you're almost Dailiner. But Daiyusha and Daikaiser, please just make me toys of those. I've been wanting toys of those since I got into this game. Please.
I want model kits. Man,
don't give me model kits. I'll never get them built.
we'll get to that after we're done recording because I actually have a couple of Vanguard questions for you. So that I would love to own a Summon Skull from Yu-Gi-Oh, because that'd be cool. Rick Sanchez and Morty Sanchez from Rick and Morty.
The amount of people that would be devastated if Figuarts took a release slot for Rick and Morty.
Please make that happen.
We gotta figure now, Morty. What, Rick? What are you talking about? Japan, man. They made us into figures, man.
So that's 3. 4 would be the 10th Doctor from Doctor Who, because David Tennant is baby. I love him. I would love to hug him and meet him. And my last one, honestly,
he's significantly older than a baby, sir.
you know, I lost my train of thought. The last one, honestly, and this is just kind of a cop out because it's me. Where's my figure art of Tom from Toonami? Come on.
Tom's actually Tom got like a pop vinyl, but like he's never had good toys.
I think that
he's such a toyable design too.
Yeah, Tom. I feel like not our buddy Tom, but Tom from Toonami. I think that they would likely make I'll have your requests, Gary. I think that they would probably come out eventually like under Figma. Like Good Smile, I think would be willing to take those on more so than Bandai. I mean, well, Bandai's done weirder things. I mean, well, Bandai's done stranger things, but yeah, if we're going off of what I would like to see, obviously, I mean, I brought this up during the collectibles stream with Team Rider, the O's combos, the Lost combos. Like we got Representative Muchikiri in Memory of Heroes.
Soto got to everything finally.
Yeah, Soto got to all of them, and I don't collect Soto, so it's like maybe I should backtrack and get those. Tsukuyomi from Kamen Rider Geo. She's literally the last main writer that we need from them. Unless we get into my other the another writers, please. I need another O's, another Decay.
I need another Blade.
Please make them. I want monsters for my writers to fight. Speaking of, more mooks if possible. I mean, we got the Shocker Grunts, we got Gel Shocker. I need my Masquerade Doll Pants. I need my Guardians. I need Smashes. Please, just make more monsters. If you can just do what they do here in America, and they do the army builders for like Marvel Legends, Like, can you please just make more of those monster figures? That's
Mhm.
honestly what I'd like to see. I mean, that's why I'm really happy that Lightning Collection is doing, the putties, the tangas. We've got Pumpkin Wrapper, we've got King Sphinx. Like, yay, monsters, but now I need them for my riders, please. If we could, just please.
Yeah.
And
All right.
Seihos of the Greeds. If we could get Seihos of the Greeds, that would.
Oh,
Like,
If-
Please.
if they do if they do a Shinshoku Seiho Gamel, my wallet will sue you, Reggie.
Also, Bandai, please release Sugozo already. I mean, you've teased him. You had on in the convention, you had him with a placard that said February.
You
That
gave
either
us
told us
you gave us Shota, and you just skipped over Sugozo like that. How dare you?
Why would you skip Best Rider for him in O's?
seriously though, like we got that little preview tour thing, like the virtual tour, and you saw a picture of Sugozo with the little placard that said February, which either meant to us that the pre-orders were going to open in February, we're going to get more details in February, and we've heard nothing since. It is May. Please. Just give us Sugozo, and so we can move on to Butotira, and then we can move on to Burokawani, we can move on to Super Tatsuva, and then I can be finally done with my O's Seiho collection until you guys actually make those lost combos. Also, Seiho Birth, Poseidon,
Yes.
Aqua, please. I went on more than just 5. I know.
Can you please just give us a Shinshoku Seiho Ryuki so I don't have to buy the mono kit?
Now, see, I want to get them, like we were mentioning earlier. Figuarts Standard can be a nice alternative.
Yeah.
So honestly, Yuki is not one of the series that I'm like really attached to, but I would like representation for. So that's why I'm going for the Figuarts Standard for that. Same with Vi's. Blade,
Anyway.
I need to watch more. So I
Please.
can
Okay. Reggie,
I know Carl's gonna kick my butt for this.
Carl's gonna kick your butt. Jem's gonna kick your butt. I'm gonna kick your butt. Blade is a slow burn, just like 01, right? I don't know if you could back me up because I know you love Hibiki as much as I love Build and Blade. But would you agree that Blade's worth a watch?
Oh no, I like Blade a lot. Yeah, I would say it probably is a slow burn. Yeah, I watched Blade so long ago that the details are very fuzzy on pacing. But
I watched Blade in a week back in college, and I must say, Blade. My friends and I used to have a joke of you could watch the first episode of Blade, get to episode 11, you would have missed nothing. I did not do that, and I do not agree with my former statement that you could do that because so much happens. Like you find out why Garen's a dick, and it's awesome. But anyway, Reggie, did you want to ask what we're doing next month?
Yeah, I realize what's going to happen in 2 weeks. So that's pretty much our good segue to finally ending this episode. We've been recording for 2 hours. Typically, we're doing an hour and a half. When Gary and I are just alone, it's usually just an hour. So, Rai, again, thank you so much for coming on to this episode. I know that Gary and I both kind of rambled on with our details on things. But we really were happy to have you on here, especially since, like I said, you were a main contributor to this happening.
I'm always glad to infect others. But no, thanks for having me. It was a blast, and anytime a topic lines up with my areas of expertise, hit me up.
Gary's going to be hosting, like I said, a couple of Power Ranger Sentai episodes when I'm not available. So feel free to, if you are available, reach out to him and hop on. I mean, like a lot of those days I will watch the stream. I just won't be able to obviously be part of it. So it'd be great to see you on more episodes.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Reggie, did you want to announce what you wanted to do for May, or
I'm gonna like guys that are watching still, I'm going to go ahead and create the promo if I can today or tomorrow, and then it'll be on our social media, Bugz2Men on Twitter. So if you guys want to see that preview of what's coming in May, well, at least for those episodes, but I mean, I might as well just, mention what I wanted to do off of the planned episodes. So obviously it's May. It's this is known as Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So any Asian American Pacific Islander content creators that would like to be like, I would like to do like small 15-minute interview segments with each of you. If you guys are available, please let me know. Obviously I know time differences are going to kind of hinder that. But if you would like to, please reach out. Like I said, we'll try and schedule. I work Mondays through Fridays from 8 to 5, but I would like to make those mini-sodes pop up throughout the month, in between our recordings. So if you guys are available, just let me know. I'm going to put this announcement also on our social media. So yeah, guys, just hit me up if you like. I like, as an Asian American, I would love to, include that. I mean, obviously with a lot of our topics that have been going on lately in the media, I would like to showcase some of our members in that community.
Yeah. And also Reggie and I have a pretty cool announcement. We got asked to be on a podcast next Sunday.
Yep. On next Sunday. So May 9th, we will be actually appearing on our buddy Carl's show, Tokudan, where we'll be talking. I think, Gary, your choice for the topic is Sentai suits. So
yeah, like we're gonna rank all 45 Sentai suits. It'll be fun because
all 45. I thought we were only talking about the top 5 that we like, but okay, I guess that fits more for the usual like hour and a half hour content that I know that he does. So that works. But yeah, guys, you can check us out there. But yeah, let's not stray away from media, social media. Obviously, like we said, Rai has been our special guest. Rai, would you like to let them know where we can find you? I mean, if they don't know who you are at this point,
they
must have been living under a rock.
You don't know.
I mean, she is the legendary underground toy reviewer.
That is true. That is true. That is a name that I've carried until I moved, and then I still carried it, even though I'm now technically above ground because it's a trailer and it's floating. But
she's a ninja.
You can find me on Twitter at CollectorShuki. It's on the screen right now. YouTube.com/CollectorShuki. I'm very sparse there nowadays, but you can still go there anyway. I got a lot of backlog of nonsense.
Yeah, I see your vlogs. I see your Transformer reviews. I'm like,
and you can check out R the Streets at the R Infinity channel on YouTube. Fridays at 10 Eastern. You can figure out what time that is on your Earth.
7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So
check that out too.
We gotta get some of those guys on here too.
I would love to.
I know that I want to get Chris and you back again, right? Whenever I do our collector reviewer episode. But yeah, I have a lot of plans for this channel. So,
me too.
But yeah, and obviously you can find me and Gary, Bugz2Men, or GBX93 for Gary, True KRO is for me. And yeah, guys, we'll cut the episode here because obviously it's lunchtime for me and it's like way later in the day for me and Rai. So thanks again everybody for watching, and tune in on the 15th for our next episode. And also keep an eye out on this channel in case I can get those actual interviews lined up with those different content creators. So thank you. Bye.
Peace out, Cub Scouts.